TV trash. Well, I guess it's as good a time as any to get back into the necessary evil of television. Is it just me, or did we actually seem to enjoy TV commercials when we were kids? Maybe there was a reason for that. They were actually good back then. I briefly mentioned this in my Linus the Lionheart video, but once TV networks or the government or whoever it was laid down the law that kids' TV shows couldn't be made primarily to sell products, the response from ad agencies was to basically turn the commercials into shows themselves. Those 30-second bits ended up telling stories and comedy sketches just as much as the main shows themselves, using whatever magical cutesy character those ad companies came up with to be the mascot of their product. And of course, sugary breakfast cereal was always right at the top of the list for using this format, making the likes of Tony the Tiger, Lucky the Leprechaun, and the Trix Bunny as beloved and iconic as Optimus Prime or He-Man. Which brings us to today's subject, one of the weirdest changes in a cereal mascot you might not have heard of. Or at least you didn't remember until you did. Surely we all remember Coco Krispies, right? The spin-off of Rice Krispies, where clearly someone realized kids were just pouring sugar onto the original and decided to eliminate the middleman by pouring chocolate on the concoction and baking it that way. The cereal has been referenced and copied and lampooned in multiple other forms of media. I'm pretty sure it was the inspiration for chocolate-frosted sugar bombs in the Calvin and Hobbes comics. Most people may remember the mascot for Coco Krispies as the Rice Krispies mascot, Snap, Crackle, and Pop. Those three elves who I'm guessing got tired of slaving away in the Keebler Hollow tree and left to create their own business. And then in the 1990s, someone at Kellogg's decided to kick that trio off of the Coco product and replace them with someone completely different. Who, you may ask? Oh boy!
My name's Coco and I swing from the trees. I live in the jungle, I'm a monkey, you see. When I get hungry, I'll even eat leaves, but I'd rather have a bowl of Coco Krispies. I help myself often and I try to say please, but I'm faster than the others, they cannot catch me.
Yeah! So yes, in 1990 came the start of a new series of commercials featuring Coco. A singing simian with either a British or Aussie accent, swinging on vines and talking about how much he loves the chocolate cereal, while wearing a shirt with his name on it in case you didn't hear him constantly saying it all the time. Geez, who has such an ego problem that he has to walk around everywhere while wearing a shirt with his name on it? Loser! So the gist of this series of commercials is, well, pretty similar to most others you remember if you grew up on this time. Coco loves to have fun and eat his favorite cereal, but he's always being pursued by the other beasts of the jungle who want to steal his breakfast food. He always thwarts their attempts and leaves them as humiliated as Wile E. Coyote.
When out of the sky comes a giant pest who takes my Coco Krispies back to his nest. It's a chocolatey taste he wants to try, but he's about to learn a new way to fly by. When I run across a slippery pair who shake things up into the air, it's chocolatey taste they think they'll get, but they're only gonna wind up getting wet. Oh yeah.
And no, it's never stated exactly where Coco gets his Krispies and why the other animals can't just go there to get their own. Because these went alongside cartoons before the 90s were in full gear, and you didn't let a good comedic running gag be upended by things like, logic. Although, as I think about it, Coco might consider himself lucky that these creatures are only out to get his cereal and not trying to eat him. Who knew that chocolate-covered rice cereal was the secret to upending the laws of the jungle? I will give the creators of these ads some credit. The jingles sung in these things, they're damn catchy. I mean, we're all approaching that age where we can't remember where we put our car keys, but we all of a sudden remember some commercial jingle from 30 years ago, right? Where do you think the idea for this video came from? But given that the ad agents could have tried to really be trendy and put these things together with some terrible rap music, I'll pretty much take what we got here. Now, it turns out that this character does have far more history than many of the states may have known. Coco has actually been known as the mascot for the cereal since 1963 in the UK, where the cereal has long been known as Coco Pops. I'm guessing Kellogg's thought us ugly Americans would get the cereal too confused with Corn Pops if it kept that name. And this hasn't even been the first time the mascot has changed for this particular cereal in the USA either. Turns out Snap, Crackle, and Pop didn't even start shilling the Coco product until 1982. And before that, the cereal had several representatives, ranging from a Mexican stereotype monkey named Jose to even Hanna-Barbera's Snagglepuss. Heavens to Murgatroyd! It did seem like Kellogg's and its ad representatives were committed to this series of commercials as they aired for almost the entirety of the 1990s. Then came 1998, and they decided to abandon them for a series of live-action ads featuring the monkey. And this Coco isn't swinging from vines thwarting hungry crocodiles. He's trying to go to school with some teenage kid looking to fit in. Geez, who knew David Zaslav got his start making cereal commercials in the 90s? That more or less was the death knell for this character in the United States. By 2001, Snap, Crackle, and Pop were back as the representatives for Coco Krispies and have remained so ever since. By all accounts, Coco remains associated with Coco Pops in other countries, though the company did apparently try to change the name of the cereal in those nations, and it didn't really work. Basically, don't mess with cricket in the UK, and don't mess with baseball in the US. Wait. For years, I always wondered why Kellogg's made a change like this, replacing mascots that had already been known and beloved for years. But upon learning Coco the Monkey's actual history with the company, I guess it kind of makes sense that they would try to streamline the product across the nations. And for what it's worth, those in charge of making the commercials did go all out in making them something that I'm sure a lot of people remember to this day. It could have been a lot worse. At least they didn't try replacing Tony the Tiger. That might have brought out the torches and pitchforks. Now, if you excuse me, I think I need to head over to Kroger's to pick up some sugary breakfast cereal because for some reason I've got a craving for it now.